budget cost. You can break that down, but my point is that we can actually break that. There's a total variance here, but we can break it into two. How? By keeping actual quantity constant. And all we have to do here is keep the budget, and that's all we're doing. That's how we create a variance. Contribution margin constant. You've got two variables. How do you create a variance? You keep one of them constant, and you vary the other, and then you've got a variance. That's all. Can you see that? You keep these constant to get this variance. You keep these constant to get this variance. All right? That applies to any variance analysis you do. Standards, could be costs, could be revenues. In the example in your book, we're talking about contribution margin. So don't overthink this. Don't think, oh, this is the 10th set of formulas I have to remember now. I have to remember one's for cost, one's for price, and now one's for contribution margin. They're all the same in terms of construction. You have standards and budgets on one side, you have actuals on the other side, and you keep one constant for finding out the variance. You with me? Okay, so we can apply this to revenue variances, cost variances, or contribution margin variances. And that's all we're doing. Okay? So in Management Accounting 1, we got a flexible budget variance and a sales volume variance. What do we mean by that? Well, guess what? Here's your volume variance and here's your flexible budget variance. Whoopie-doo. There you go. That's your Management Accounting 1 revision. No? Yes? Huh? All right. So that's it. There's the two. Okay? That's how you create a variance without having to memorise the formulas. Look, actual, budget. You have to keep one constant to get a variance. You have to keep the other constant to get a variance. That's all you're doing. Is that easy? That's analytics. Remember, you want to, when you're going for a job, you want to say that you have analytical power. Okay, that you studied analytics as part of management accounting. The word analytics sounds good. It sounds good in the job interview. Organisations want people who know about analytics. Oh, guess what? If you want to look very smart in the job interview, just say you know analytics about the future. What do we call that? Predictive analytics. Yes, true. Okay, predictive, that is analytics about the future, all right? No different, all right? Because no one cares about analytics about the past. Okay, all right, so in Management Accounting 1, you already know that. You don't need me to teach you that, but there's an example starting in your chapter that presents you flexible budget and sales volume. What I want to do now for Learning Objective 7 and Learning Objective 8 is to just take it one step further. What do we mean by one step further? Well, all we want to do is we just want to go take this part and piece it into two parts. All right, and that will give us our sales quantity variance here. Then we will break, which one? We will break this into two parts. Okay, and then that will give us our market size and market share. Okay, so it's a matter of you're starting here and then you're just getting down into minute parts. So there's two main things I want you to learn here. The first thing is what decisions are being supported by these variances, and the second one is, well, is this idea here that the variances add up to the whole, and at the end the whole has to be the actual revenue and the costs the firm incurred and the budget times budget. Okay, it can't be any different from that. Okay, so let's have a look at number 7. The first thing I want you to learn is the decisions that we're being made. In Management Accounting 1, it is how much did we make versus the expected budget. So this is how much we made here. This is what we expected. No, that's level 1. This is what we made, and this is what we expected. But adjusted for the budget, now we can look at how much was due to change in the margin, that is revenue minus costs. Well, that's where we have to create this. So how much was due to the margin, and how much was due to, let's have a look, how much was due to change in the margin, how much was due to change in volume. Well, here's the change in volume here, because you went from budget to actual. You made a change, right? So that will give you the answer to that question. How much was due to change in margin? Well, our budget margin was here, the actual was here, so we find the difference, and that answers that question. Why do we care about one versus the other? Well, volume may be to do with, well, maybe we didn't have enough sales staff on the ground, so now we've got to think about sales strategy, because that may be the cause and effect there. In terms of margin, maybe we have extra competition and we need to have a new market campaign, or maybe we need new products with better functionality so we can get extra margin. You see, there's different things you have to do depending on the analytics. The variance analysis is telling you. So in this lecture, I want to transfer what is kind of a boring thing, that is sales variance analysis, into something that's called predictive analytics. Something that can support the direction of your marketing strategy. Something that can support the direction of your future product portfolio. Now, then you become valuable. You become valuable in the organisation. Okay? All right, so now let's go down to level 3. Why would we want to go to level 3? Because we want to know how much of this volume change was due to change in quantity, how much was due to change in mix. Okay? Because here, maybe we expect to sell 80% of our low margin product and 20% of a high margin. Maybe the budget contribution margin changed to the actual. Maybe in the end we only sold 15% of the high margin instead of 20%. So therefore we get less. Why did that happen? Then we can look at the sales staff. Maybe they weren't incentivized enough. See, you've got the analytic, then you've got a decision that can help support the analytic. Let's have a look at the example here. How much was due to change in mix? How much was due to change in market size? How much was due to change in market share? Level 4 is important. Why? Market size? Because maybe no one has control over that. Or maybe that's a global decision made by headquarters in the other country, and that doesn't affect your regional policy, you see? So it's important to not blame this total variance on one person. There are many people in the organisation. Once you break the variance down into two, and into two again, there are different people responsible. And so now you can make finer decisions. That's the power of variance analysis. So the lecture here is not to tell you how to do the variance analysis. I just want to impress on you that different levels affect different responsibility. People in charge of volume may not be in charge of the mix. Okay? And the mix might depend on a different product functionality you have. Remember last week we were talking about if you have a product with more functionality, it fits into another price point compared to another, and at one price point you can get higher margin than you are in another price point. So people that control that, maybe the value engineering people, okay, may not be in total control of the change in quantity, okay, which may be marketing, you see. So different people may be responsible for different variances when you break it up. That's all we're doing. All right, in terms of calculation, you can memorize the formula. There's the formula. Okay, so the lecture isn't about making you memorize the formula. I just want to stress on you that different people are responsible for different variances. So, learning objective 7, and then you have learning objective, and there's the example there. From MA1, that was your basic example. Can you all see this page? Wow, that looks very close to here, right? Like even mine is neater than this. Yes? No? All right? You see, this is actual times actual sales times actual margin. Actual times actual. Here, budgeted sales times budget margin. Budget times budget. Here we have actual times budgeted. And that's the middle one. You see? That's all it is. Don't overthink it. Okay? So once you get that framework in your mind, you can actually go faster in the exam if you're asked to calculate variances. Okay? Rather than memorising the formula. How many of you have thought of that way before? Anyone? Is this a new idea to you? Hands up if this is a new idea. Okay, that's good. Good. Okay. All right. I won't show you everything, but here's the basic framework. We're breaking this down into sales mix and quantity, and to get sales volume, which is here broken into two parts. Why? Because one group may be in charge of quantity, the other group, someone else may be in charge of sales mix. So in part 8, we have looked at the market size variances, which is the volume variance cut into 2 again, down to here. Management can only change what they can control. They may not be able to control the market. So we can break down the market share and market size variance, which is this one down here, into market share and market size variance. Okay, so this was the market share here and market size here. All right. So we just break it down, 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 down. Why? Because people in charge of market share and size, maybe no one has control over the market size. Maybe you don't have as much control of market share. Maybe to do a promotion. Maybe it's to do partly because new competitors came in. You see? So you get into a different dialogue. But if you start a dialogue with you all work for me in the organisation and say, oh, we've got this problem with this big variance. Who's responsible? Oh, I'm not responsible for the total variance. But you can affect one part of it. And it's not until I break down the analytics into different variances that I say, yes, you are responsible for this part. Why? Because you affect the promotion campaign that we ran last year. Okay? You see what I mean? So we change the analytics to help us make better decisions. Before we can make better decisions, we need to find people who are responsible for those decisions. Okay? So that's what sales variance analysis is about, and that finishes our lecture. I talked about cost allocation. What is it about? Cause and effect. Customer profitability analysis and sales profitability analysis. Okay, and thanks very much to Grace for sharing her thoughts. If anyone wants Grace's number, I think I've lost it, sorry. Okay. Any questions about test, exam, or anything like that? Any final questions? Okay, the deal is, if you want information about the test, I like to give it in a public forum where everyone gets the same information, okay? So if you want me to make an announcement, just let me know at the start of the lecture or something like that. Okay?
Will there be any similar questions to what we for tutorial?
The question is, will there be similar questions in the test compared to what you do in the tutorial? Perhaps. It will cover the same principles and concepts as what you're doing in the tutorial. Okay?